Oh, hello, darling. My name's Irene Miller, and I want to take you back to a night that changed everything. It was my son Eric's 45th birthday, just a couple of months ago, back in October. The living room was buzzing with laughter, Kara's co-workers sipping cheap champagne, Eric's friends glued to a muted football game on the TV. The air smelled like chocolate cake and that rosemary chicken I'd spent the whole afternoon cooking. Heart already racing a little. Quick hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so we never miss a story. Now tell me fast in the comments. Where are you watching from, my sweetheart? I read every single one, it makes my day. I stood near the doorway, holding a little gift bag that suddenly felt so small in my hands. Inside was a framed photo of Eric when he was 8, missing teeth, frosting all over his cheek. That big, trusting smile he used to give me. I thought it might warm his heart, remind him of the days he loved me without a care. When he finished bragging about some sales win, I stepped forward, not to interrupt, just to touch his arm and whisper, "Happy birthday, sweetheart." A simple thing, a mother's touch. But he jerked away like my hand was fire. "Don't touch me. Can't you see I'm busy? Go back to the kitchen, Mom." Oh, darling. The room didn't go silent all at once, it sagged into this heavy hush, like everyone was holding their breath, pretending they didn't hear. Kara gave a stiff smile, someone coughed, and a few folks stared at the floor. My face burned, that slow humiliation creeping up my throat. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her little Lily, my granddaughter. She slipped her hand into mine and squeezed so gentle. Her voice was soft, barely above the air conditioner's hum. "Grandma, you don't deserve that." I looked at her, the only one who still saw me, and something clicked inside me, a line drawn in the sand. "I know, sweetheart," I whispered, my eyes on Eric's turned back, and I decided right then that was the last time he'd ever speak to me like that. When the last guest left that cool Ohio night, the house settled into a silence that made every dirty plate scream. Kara kicked off her heels with a sigh, like she'd hosted a royal ball, and Eric tossed his tie on the couch, not even glancing at the kitchen mess. "Irene, could you finish up down here?" Kara called, not looking at me. "Just load the dishwasher and wipe the counters. Eric has an early morning." Like I didn't know his schedule better than she did. I nodded out of habit, but something tightened in my chest. I stepped into that kitchen, tiles cold under my feet, sink overflowing with frosting-smeared plates and beer bottles. My knees ached, heavier than usual, like my body was finally saying enough. I stood there, staring at my reflection in the dark window, tired eyes, silver hair loose from its bun. That soft cardigan Lily gave me last Christmas. Behind me, Eric laughed at something on his phone, carefree, like my touch hadn't just burned him. Kara hummed upstairs, oblivious. I could have cleaned, scrubbed away the mess like I'd scrubbed away pieces of myself for 5 years. But darling, I stepped back. I didn't touch a dish. Instead, I walked upstairs to that tiny room they'd shoved me into 3 years ago, a storage space with a twin bed and a dresser. The door clicked shut, and I sat there, looking at Tom's picture on the nightstand, his gentle smile from the day before he passed. "I don't know what to do anymore," I whispered to that empty room. And for the first time, I let myself imagine a life where I wasn't shrinking, though. Darling, let me take you back a bit, to how it all started. After Tom passed, bless his soul, it was just me and Eric. I was 63 then, Still working part-time at the library, driving myself to book club. But grief makes you soft, and I let Eric and Kara take over. Mom, let us handle the bills, they said. Then, the house is too big, maybe downsize. I didn't fight it. I moved into their guest room, thinking it was temporary. But oh, the little cuts started piling up. That first Thanksgiving after Tom, I brought my famous pecan pie. Kara smiled that tight smile. We have a caterer, Irene. But thanks. It sat untouched while they served fancy desserts. Eric didn't say a word. Then came Lily's birthday's whereupon booties went straight to a drawer, replaced by Paris imports. Very sweet, Kara said, but her tone cut deep. At family photos, I was always in the back, cropped out by accident. We'll take one with you next time, Kara promised. Next time never came. They started giving me help to $100 a month, handed like charity. Mom, no more coupons, Eric said. I took it, tired of arguing. My moss green dress, Dom's favorite, got a raised eyebrow. Maybe something newer, Irene? Kara suggested. At Lily's school play, her mother whispered loud enough. In France, grandmothers dress better. I smiled, swallowed it down. They moved me to the kids' table at dinners, farther each year, until I was almost in another room. And that birthday party. The humiliation wasn't new, it was just louder for 5 years. I let them shrink me. I told myself Eric was stressed. Kara was adjusting. That love was patient. But darling, love doesn't push you aside. Love doesn't make you feel like a ghost in your own life. That night, staring at Tom's picture, I realized I'd been fading, letting them erase me. My hands trembled as I opened the nightstand drawer, Social Security papers, medical forms, a bank envelope, and that lavender postcard Lily made when she was 11, signed for Grandma, who always makes room for me. A breath shook out of me. I gathered those papers, took out my stationery with those soft blue lines, and wrote a letter. Not out of anger, but because staying was eroding me. I left it on the table for them to find. And darling, when the morning light hadn't even touched the sky, I slipped out with my suitcase, ready to begin again. Go. Darling, those first days after I left were a mix of peace and fear. You know, I checked into a little motel, peach-colored walls, a buzzing soda machine, carpet that's seen better days. But the quiet felt different, like I could breathe without waiting for someone to need me. 2 days later, I found a modest ground floor apartment across town, old but clean, and the landlord, Mr. Haskins, a widower, seemed glad for a quiet tenant. The rent stretched my pension, but that key turned to a space that was mine. That first week, I bought a second-hand sofa, stocked the fridge, listened to public radio, but every buzz of my phone made my heart jump. Eric didn't call. Kara didn't either. Only Lily. One afternoon, she showed up, backpack over her shoulder, hair damp from swim practice. She fell into my arms with a trembling sigh. I thought they wouldn't let you come, I whispered, brushing her hair back. I told Mom I was staying late for a project, she said, stepping in, eyes wide. Grandma, it's small, but it feels like you. We sat at my tiny kitchen table, her hands around a mug of hot chocolate from my old mix. She was quiet for a long time, staring at the steam. Then she said, Dad's been weird since you left. He pretends he doesn't care, but he paces at night. Mom's mad, says you abandoned them. I laughed soft, not because it was funny, but to keep from crying. Abandoned, sweetheart. I was invisible long before I walked out. Lily bit her lip, reached into her backpack, and pulled out papers. I found something. I don't know what it means, but you should see it. My pulse quickened at the Maple Ridge Community Bank. Logo: a loan statement. $25,000, $600 deducted monthly. My pension had shrunk, but I'd blamed insurance. I never signed this, I murmured. There's more, Lily whispered, pulling out her phone screenshots from Kara's laptop. Emails. If Dr. Kramer signs off on mild cognitive decline, we can move forward with care facility paperwork. Once she's admitted, the house sells quick. Eric's on board. My hands shook, not from age, but betrayal. Lily held my wrist. I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't know who else to tell. I looked at her, my only ally, and felt a spark. You did the right thing, sweetheart. As I closed that folder, I knew this wasn't just leaving anymore, it was fighting back. For 2 days, I barely slept, rereading those papers, remembering Kara's questions about my medical appointments. That foggy day 3 years ago when Eric hovered while I signed routine paperwork. After a kitchen fall, I trusted them. But Lily's words, "You don't deserve that," echoed louder. My neighbor Martha knocked with lemon cookies, mentioning a community center with free legal help for seniors. That nudge felt like a sign. Darling, and I knew it was time to act. Oh, darling, that trip to the community center changed everything. It was small, tucked between a laundromat and a shoe store, with folks murmuring in folding chairs. A sign read, Elder Rights and Financial Safety Clinic, Tuesdays only. When they called my name, I stepped into a narrow office. A man in his 50s, Daniel Alvarez, looked up, suit worn at the elbows, but his eyes sharp, like he saw me, not just my troubles. Irene Miller, he asked, shaking my hand. What can I help you with today? I sat, unfolded my papers, and placed them on his desk. My voice wavered once. I think my son and daughter-in-law took my money and planned to declare me incompetent. He didn't flinch, just adjusted his glasses. Let's take this step by step. He studied the loan forms, comparing my signature to my ID. This isn't your handwriting, he said calmly. If you didn't authorize it, that's fraud, especially with a senior's account. He tapped the page. These deductions look like an intentional repayment plan. My throat tightened. It was Eric, I whispered. He nodded, pulling up his laptop. We'll request the bank to review logs, fingerprints, video. But these emails, he scrolled through Lily's screenshots. These are serious. Could they force me into a care facility? I asked. I'm not confused. He leaned forward. Mrs. Miller, you're competent. With a false diagnosis, yes, they could have tried. But with evidence, we can stop it. Relief hit me. I hadn't realized how scared I was until he said that. He scheduled a bank fraud review for the next week. As I left, he touched the desk gently. You're not alone, Irene. You're doing the right thing. Those words stuck with me. That evening, I sorted every document, pension statements, bank envelopes, medical bills into neat piles. A quiet strength grew, like a lamp in a storm. They'd treated me like I was fragile, but I'd built a life long before they challenged it. The next week, at Maple Ridge Community Bank, my palms were cold despite the warm air. The fraud investigator, Miss Turner, pulled up my account records. Her lips pressed thin. Mrs. Miller, this loan was authorized from your home IP address. The signer used credentials linked to your son. I went, still seeing it confirmed was like ice water. So the signature was forged, Alvarez said. It appears so, she replied. We're pausing deductions for investigation. Walking out, I felt lighter, yet heavier. Proof was mine. But the truth stung. Alvarez touched my elbow. This gives us leverage. Next step. A few days later, he called me to his office. Eric and Kara were there. Kara's smile strained. Eric avoiding my eyes. Alvarez didn't waste time. We have evidence of unauthorized withdrawals, identity misuse, a fraudulent loan, and plans for a false dementia diagnosis. Serious offenses. We can resolve this privately or escalate. Kara's face paled. You're misunderstanding the emails. Nothing happened. You planned it, I said quietly. That's enough. Eric flinched. Mom, I never meant it to go that far. But it did, I answered, hands calm. Alvarez outlined the deal. Loan voided, money returned, power of attorney revoked, or charges. Eric whispered, what do you want? Accountability, I said. And space. Oh, darling. Weeks passed after that meeting, and justice started moving. The loan was erased. Small repayments trickled into my account, but the ache stayed a hollow no paper could fill. Then Kara called, voice shaking. Irene, we got a foreclosure notice. We can't keep up. If you can help, please. I paused, not out of cruelty, but clarity. Come to Mr. Alvarez's office tomorrow. Both of you. They arrived looking worn. Eric's shoulders sagged, Kara clutching her handbag. I sat steady. I can buy the house. Clear the foreclosure, I said. Hope flickered in Kara's eyes, but I raised a hand. Only if you move out in 30 days and acknowledge what you did. Eric's breath broke, tears slipping down. Mom, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I became this. I believed the sorrow, but not the excuse. This isn't punishment, I said softly. It's reclaiming my life. They agreed. The house became mine, keys in my hand, history pulsing beneath it. I didn't move in. I renovated the porch, repainted the living room, added warm lights and soft chairs. Now, it's Irene's porch, a haven for women who need a landing when life takes too much. Some evenings, as the sun sets through the maple trees and quiet voices fill the air, I think of Eric. We talk occasionally, slow and cautious, like strangers rebuilding. I once thought freedom was being needed. Now I know it's seeing my own worth. Lily visits often, her smile my light. Last week, she brought a drawing, us holding hands under a lavender field. For Grandma, who fought for herself, she wrote. I framed it, hung it where I see it every day. Darling, if you're listening, know this: it's never too late to stand up. Hit that like button if this touched you. Subscribe and tap the bell so we can chat again. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from tonight? Sweetheart, I read everyone. And if you need to hear it, type I deserve better. Because you do. God bless you. Go claim your worth.